Have you ever wanted to play Europa Universalis IV, but you feel like it's missing flavor or depth in certain parts of the game? Well, if you have, and to be honest, even if you haven't, you've probably heard of Europa Expanded. This mod is deep and it expands so much of the base game that it could 100% be sold as a full price DLC, and many people wouldn't even think twice about it. And for today's video, we are going to load in and see how it looks, specifically how it compares to the base game. If you guys enjoy this sort of content on the channel and you want to see more, make sure that you leave a like on the video. And if you haven't already subscribed, and I know that a lot of you watching right now are not already subscribed, you should click that red button below the video, because at 50,000 subscribers here on Chewbert, we are going to be doing a massive mega campaign all the way from Imperator Rome through Hearts of Iron 4, and it is going to be a ton of fun. I'd love to have you along for the ride. Now, on to Europa Expanded. So from what I can tell, the only major difference that we can see on the map at the start here is Baghdad. And aside from that, it is basically all the same. Fars is blue, which is weird, but everything else is the same outside of this area over here. And there's quite a bit that has changed over the years in this mod. And so we're going to take a look at it. March of 1445, and we have Bohemia, personal union under Austria. So that was pretty quick. Apparently they changed colors in this mod as well, which I'm quite a fan of, to be honest with you. Also in the first year, Tunis with Kabylia popping out, or however it's pronounced. A little bit of a civil war going on for Tunis, but it looks like it's probably going to go fine for them considering the fact that they have all of their development, or at least most of it. And I know that we just got a dev diary for Byzantium in 1.36 for EU4, but take a look at this one. I'm pretty sure this is Big Boss's old mission tree from like Flavor Universalis before he even started working for Tinto. Look at this mission tree. That's crazy. Rest in peace, Byzantium. And meanwhile, rest in peace, Dolkadir. And we have a border 5 years into the game between the Ottomans and the Mamluks. Interesting to note, the Mamluks have the Caliph, or however it's pronounced, over here in Cairo. Interesting mechanic that I will try to keep my eyes on, but can be a little complicated. But basically, they are, this is the holy seat here. This is the seat of the Islamic world, at least in terms of, you know, the alleged caliph. Depends on who you ask, I think. Mecklenburg ate these guys over here, and then meanwhile, Poland ate the Teutonic Order, and now they're exiled up here to Memel. It's not square anymore, which is unfortunate, but they're in Memel, one province minor Teutonic Order. Yeah, dude, the mammies are like looking good. Dummy thick mammies over here. Lots of borders with the Ottomans. Ottomans doing fine. They've eaten up a couple of the Beyliks. I think we're going to see a clash of titans here before too long, and I'm very much here for it. Meanwhile, QQ going a little buck wild, eating up Baghdad, which is QQ in vanilla, and a couple of like bitless, I think, over here as well. Cleaning up borders probably before too long, if I had to guess. Also, Trebizond just lost a province here. They did have this one. So they've been cut down to only 2/3 of their peak dynasty over here. And that's pretty cool. We have Kurtuba, which has formed over here. Not as cool considering the fact that they're full occupied in a war. But, you know, still always cool to see name changes at the very least. Oh, here we go. We have a government mechanic here. The Habsburg glory for Austria. Very interesting. So it looks like there's a couple of things here that we can do to increase the glory by getting elected or accepting cultures, leveling up palaces and from various missions and events, and lose it from having weak claim heirs and demoting cultures. Fairly tame in terms of rewards, but very useful nonetheless. And meanwhile, you can spend it on various other things here for favors and interesting bribery and all this stuff. Very cool. I love the fact that it's basically just an extra mana that you can spend, or you can get the modifiers. So very cool. Good implementation, in my opinion. Well, we've got a war here between Burgundy and their subjects against France. And this is actually an offensive war for Burgundy, and they seem to be winning. So not sure how this is going to go for France in the long term, but they are definitely losing. Also losing over here, Pope Man, losing some land between Florence and Naples. So maybe we're going to see some interesting stuff eventually. Cordoba was annexed mostly by Aragon, and then France actually came in and took a province from Castile as well. So definitely going to be needing to keep our eyes on the borders in this region. And in terms of borders over here, we're looking a little weird. We've got Khorasan, Kerman popping out, Sistan taking a province, and the Timurids are gone. Well, at least gone from here, because they're now over here in like the Himalayan mountains. I don't know how, but yeah, they're here. Damn, big Ayutthaya alert. Big Ayutthaya alert. Diviet with the longest coastal borders they could possibly come up with, all the way looping around Laos. but Ayutthaya looking very good. I'm going to be keeping an eye on these guys because they very well might be very scary in the long term. Well, we've got some developments going on. We have some developments going on. Austria and the Ottomans looking to split up Hungary, though Austria has lost Bohemia. But it's interesting to note that Bohemia is not independent. They are in fact a subject of Muscovy now, a personal union under Muscovy, being contested by Poland, leading to a pretty big war. Safe to say there's quite a few men involved in this war, and really hard to say who's going to come out on top, though it doesn't look like Bohemia is doing good at the moment. Yeah, it's not looking good for Poland. Yeah, they actually just lost a lot of land. Muscovy took a bunch from these guys, and they keep their personal union of Bohemia. Can't really say I'm too surprised about that, but it looks like Denmark and Mecklenburg even got in on the action and are now thrashing the Poles and Lithuanians. So might be the beginning of the end for our friends, the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. Hey, shout out Krakow. I feel like that's a tag that you do not see very often, and we're probably not going to see for too long, considering the fact that Bohemia's got a 5-5 fortitude leader sieging them down. Henry of Skalitz. I think I know what that is a reference to. If you guys know what that is a reference to, make sure you let me know in the comments below, because it's a good game. I am absolutely in awe at what I'm seeing right now, because Austria got the Burgundian inheritance, inherited Burgundy, and then France is also in the Holy Roman Empire, split up into a bunch of different nations, 4, 5, 6 provinces of their own. This is weird, but it's pretty cool. Having a big HRE is it's nice. I like it, since they lost a bunch to the Shadow Kingdom, then they just expanded into France, I guess. But Bohemia not being in the empire is going to hurt them, so maybe they're going to want to get that back eventually. Yeah. Meanwhile, to the south, the Mamluks are going buck wild, pushing well down into Nubia, all the way into Yemen and over into Basra, and even pushing into Persia a bit. Persia, which has formed as well, by the way, by I think it was Ajam. So some interesting stuff going on over here, but oh man, I'm not really sure what to expect, considering how much the mod actually changes. Also worth noting that the Ottomans are invading Armenia. Okay, definitely some stuff going down in the Ottomans' lands. We have Byzantium, Venetian Balkans, and Bulgaria all here in the Balkan region. And then underneath them, we have the Abbasids, who have popped out of the Mamluks, control a very large chunk of their land. Looks like a bit of a civil war, if I had to guess. And in fact, I do not see a caliph anywhere on the map. So I think that they may have like integrated the caliph into the empire or something along those lines. Very interesting. He's really good. 36 years old, a 465 legend with Muhammad here, the 524 leader or heir rather. Not really sure what that means, but it definitely weakens them. But considering the fact that the Ottomans got gutted, not a whole lot to be worried about for either of them, I suppose, except for internal stuff. The Reformation is here. We have a center in Bohemia and a center up here in North Germany. But aside from that, nothing really to write home about, except for the fact that maybe Scotland is beating England? Question mark. Also, just look at these borders in Italy. We have Naples up here, Venice over here, but Austria over here, Naples and France over here. It's just, this is a total mess. Oh, and I don't know if I missed this or if this happened after I unpaused, but the Mamluks are Egypt now, and they're actually exclusively outside of Egypt, which is really funny. But yeah, not looking too good, man. Oh, yo, look at this. Look at this. We have Frankish culture now, and it's part of the Germanic group. Oh, that is so cool. I love this. Well, Spain is here. Portugal, not so much. We also have Naples in northern Africa, and Egypt is basically just gone at this point. The Ottomans having a bit of a comeback, taking over Bulgaria, not Venice, but then Austria, who is absolutely terrifying, pushing into the Balkans. So definitely some interesting border changes over here. Looking up into the north, though, yeah, it's about as you would expect. Russia has formed and is relentlessly pushing east. Not pushing anywhere is the Ming, who is dead. Shun, Wu, and Yu in charge of China, with Manchu looking pretty good over here, and a united Japan, which is pretty cool. Also down to the south, we have Tondo, Ternate, and Tidor, all these little spice guys slash Filipinos, colonizing a bunch of the land over here, and then a couple of various small nations over here, but Pasai looking pretty good, might be the one to unify the island. But yeah, the Abbasids have definitely made a bit of a comeback, taking over much of the land that they didn't get when they split off from the Mams and formed Egypt. Persia eating up what's left of Egypt over in Arabia, and Mali eating everything in Africa. Colonially, we have some Portuguese lands, not really a big surprise. We have a bit of Spain up here, and then some British over here in the West Indies. The rest is Spain over here, but you can't count out Brittany. Brittany is in the New World, which is pretty cool. And then Denmark is over here. And somehow the Timurids have migrated out of northern India back into their own lands. So they've got a couple of provinces here. That's pretty cool. Vijayanagari, Western India is a thing as well. Vijay is definitely winning the Indian Blanc battle. Denmark ended up losing this colony to Sweden. And then Newfoundland came in. Brittany continuing to colonize over here, with Spain over here, and then Britain over in the colonial West Indies area. And then we have some more stuff going on down here. But more importantly, we need to note that Brazil is independent because Portugal is dead. Portugal is just gone, reduced to atoms. They are one province minor, or a couple of islands, and they cannot control their colonies. And so they broke free. And now South America is controlled. Well, at least a lot of it is controlled by Brazil, which is terrifying. We also have the Spanish down here, which is pretty cool to see. And then we have Shun. Very big, wide name. Persia continues to grow, which is really cool. But the Abbasids, I think, are probably my favorite. A nice dark color. And I think that they probably have some flavor. I haven't played them, but I'm sure they're pretty cool. Ottomans slowly getting migrated out of the Balkans by Austria, but as is Venice, apparently. Looks like their capital is actually down here in the south. Nope, just kidding. It's in northern Italy, but they do have some development down in Greece over here. Bohemia is actually almost integrated by Russia, so we're going to have a big old Russian stack over here, just in the middle of whatever this is, the HRE region, and Bavaria is united. And then meanwhile, the HRE is pretty, HRE-ish. But Hamburg looking pretty good over here in Jutland, and an independent Isle of Man. Look at that hat, bro. That's a good hat. Would you wear this hat? I want to know, because I think I would probably wear that hat. And with about 100 years left in the game, Russia has obviously finished their relentless push east. China is still very much disunited, but Vijayanagar actually very close to uniting all of India, pushing Mewar well out of Mewar over into like Jaunpur territory, which is really funny, right next to Persia, who looks pretty dang good. Neapolitan Egypt, definitely not something that I expected to see today. Ottomans over here, and then Venice over here. We've got quite a mess going on over here. And of course, yes, Austria-Hungary, very nice. I love the fact that they are a formable, or at least a name that you can get here in this mod. It's not in vanilla because obviously Austria-Hungary in real life occurred after the timeline. It was like the 1800s when it happened, but still, it's cool flavor. I mean, like the argument you shouldn't be able to do stuff in this game just because it didn't occur in that timeline doesn't make sense, especially when you consider that you can literally form Germany in this, and Germany wasn't formed until like what, the 1870s, I believe it was. So yeah, I'm happy to see this. We also have Hanover, as well as Hanoverian Scandinavia, right next to Oldenburgian Trondelag. So yeah, the Norwegian area is definitely a mess, as well as the rest of the HRE has just mostly been consolidated between like 15 different tags. So HRE definitely seen better days. Spain looking good. Mali not looking good. Lost a ton of land over here to British Northern Africa, apparently. And then Breton Guinea. And somehow Brazil actually has colonial nations in La Plata, despite them actually being in the New World, which is kind of strange. But then the Spanish colonies still looking quite good. And of course, the Breton Florida over here. You'll love to see that, or at least I certainly do. Nobody even wanted Greenland this time around, which, hey, it is what it is. And I have absolutely no idea what happened here. Well, I guess that's not true. I do have an idea of what happened here, but I find it incredibly strange that Austria-Hungary somehow integrated a personal union of Russia. It's almost as cool as seeing Dithmarscher Scandinavia. I'm a big fan. The Teutons back in their homeland with Königsberg controlled by Bavaria. Lithuania almost having sea to shining sea, this time the Black Sea over to the Caspian, but they don't quite touch it right here. The Neapolitan Levant is incredibly wonderful to see, right next to a massive VJ who never managed to integrate Mewar. But taking a look around at the names, you're going to see a lot of revolutionary stuff. And in fact, Austria-Hungary is revolutionary. They are the revolution target. So yes, the revolution was incredibly strong this time around. Basically all of Europe was revolutionary outside of Bavaria, Lithuania, and Great Britain. And I think that's pretty cool. The Colonial game hasn't changed a whole lot outside of the United States forming a Breton United States, and then Cuba breaking free, and then colonizing the Hudson Bay, I guess. We also have Swedish Columbia, I guess. It's white, so I guess they were taken from Austria-Hungary. I don't know. And then Brazil and their subject down here in La Plata. Very cool to see. Yo, there's even a Liberia, lads. I'm pretty sure this is like where it is. Maybe it's like right here, but oh, this is so cool. I love to see this. This is so good. And it's right down the coast from the capital of Brittany here in the Grain Coast. Very, very funny. The Reformation was thoroughly stomped with Reformed in Switzerland and Protestant up here, and that is basically it. The New World is also incredibly Catholic, and to be honest, most of Africa is as well, north and south, with the central parts controlled by Catholics, though just not converted. Though Hindu, Hindu rules the day all the way from the Malay Peninsula over into Persia, which is very cool. With Breton America, as I said, and Quebecois up here in whatever this is, Newfoundland, I think it is. Mexican and Castilian dominating North America with a little bit of English and a little bit of American up here in the north. And apparently Cuba is just American, with Portuguese, Platinian, and Brazilian in the south. A bit of Turkish migration up here into the Balkans, and a bit of Persian migration, specifically Persian Mashriki over here. I'm also fairly certain that this and maybe this is new as well. I want to say this is an expanded thing. Safe to say that VJ picked a couple of their favorite local cultures and you know, had the rest conform, and it's all Polish, baby. Finally, very cool to see Austrian heading all the way down here into Albania, and Frankish over here, and I think they even converted Brittany. I think this is one of the cooler things that I saw from this video, and I'm very much here for it. I love that flavor. To literally nobody's surprise, Austria-Hungary finishes in the #1 spot, though revolutionary Spain is right behind them, mostly because of their colonial nations. VJ actually did incredibly well beating out Bavaria, but that just shows how much development was in Bavaria, with Bavaria in the 4th spot, Naples in the 5th actually, Great Britain and their colonies in the 6th spot, Shun over in China, a great power, in the 7th spot. But how about revolutionary Tondo, a nation over in like the Spice Islands, taking over the 8th spot. They're also in the Philippines as well, so I got to give them a little bit of credit. We have an economic hegemon on their way up for Bavaria, Great Britain with the naval hegemon, and then Austria-Hungary with military hegemon. This was very cool. If you enjoyed the video, make sure that you leave a like on it. I really do appreciate that. If you haven't already subscribed, like I said in the beginning, 50,000 subscribers here on Chewbert, and we are going to be doing a massive mega campaign all the way from Imperator Rome through Hearts of Iron 4. Should be a ton of fun, and I would love to have you along for the ride. If you made it all the way to the end of the video, I think that you are an absolute legend, and I appreciate you. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day. Special thanks to Chio, Josh Kopczynski, Azure Rhino, Blonde Damon, Ian Powell, Cannon Fodder, Corby Gaming, Anthony Grove, Isaiah, Saronska, Ricardo, Cobalt, Rex, Total Farce Frit, Nathan Albright, and many more. Thank you.